Power to the computer. Okay. All right. Welcome, everybody. Can y'all see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So this is our June Mommy Meetup support group for Shelter from the Rain. For anybody that's new, we do a support group every month, whether it's virtual or in person. This one is in person, or I'm sorry, this one is virtual, obviously. But next month we will meet in person, and I'll talk a little bit about that. But this is a support group that is providing space for moms or parents, because sometimes we have some attendees who are not moms a part of our program just because of the information, but for people to come and get information, to connect. We will provide opportunities for you to connect with other moms, just so you have a sense of community and a safe place to learn, to grow, to be better as a parent, as a person, just as a whole. And for those of you who don't know, all of the things that Shelter from the Rain offers, we have a diaper bank and a pantry at the front porch on Abercorn Street. You can request household items, different things that you need. We also have a mentorship program, 6 months long, that also helps with things in the areas of career development, transportation, childcare, housing, home ownership, anything like that. You can also sign up for that on the website. If you don't see those things on the website, when you fill out the survey after this presentation to let us know what you thought about it, you can put that somewhere in that form. Hey, can you send me more information about the mentorship program, or can you let me know how I can order supplies, baby supplies, or household items? Attending these support groups will qualify you for that as well. So we're really happy that you're here. And then I have a quote that we usually start with every time. The one I chose for today is: preparedness is more than right before a disaster. It is a continual mindset. So hopefully this is something, like, even though we're learning how to be prepared for disasters or be prepared for different situations that may not be as favorable, that is a continual mindset. And just like Nicole and I were talking before, there's kind of an ebb and flow. There's a balance to, like, the things that you can control and the things that you can't, and trying to be prepared for all of it. So hopefully today we'll learn some new tips and skills to help us be prepared, since we're going into hurricane season, and just in general, things to help us be mindful of how we can protect our families, or have the things that we need for the disasters that may come. All right. And then every support group that we have virtually, we want moms to have the opportunity to connect with each other. And that's usually one of the highest ranking things that we have from moms in the mentorship program, or just in other programs, wanting to connect, feeling alone. So if you could put your first name in the chat with the ages of your children, your email or phone number, or both, if you don't mind people having both. Some people don't want their phone number out there, so they put their email. I'll try to capture that information and send an email to the moms that want to connect. And maybe your main need, do you just want somebody to text sometimes for encouragement? Do you want like a mommy play date type situation? You can put what it is that you would like to have in the chat, so you can find somebody who maybe is looking for the same thing. And like I said, I'll capture those names and that information and send an email out to all the moms who want. So definitely, even if you put your phone number, put your email too, so I can email you all. So you can put that in the chat now. And like I said, that's for encouraging messages. If you want to have your own mommy meetups outside of this, if you want to send resources to somebody, especially if there's a mom on here looking for a job and y'all see jobs that are available, any ways that you can help another mom on this call, like, that's what that's for. All right. And then Mommy Mixers, we always highlight Savannah on the Move. That's a local group where they do walks typically, or if you run. And I know they have invited us to come to those if y'all want to meet up with that group. They're on Instagram for sure. I'm not sure if they're on Facebook, but if you look up Savannah on the Move, that's a group. I think they just celebrated a year of their organization, but that's a group, if you do want to connect, that you can connect with. And then we have a health and wellness support group coming up, and I'll talk about that as well. The Mommy Meetup Wellness Support Group will be next month. So since you came to the support group, you qualify for that. They wanted the list of school supplies maybe about a week ago, but they probably will let me add in moms. So once we're, excuse me, done with this, all the moms that came to the support group, I'll send you the RSVP for that, and it will include a request for school supplies if you need school supplies. That mommy meetup next month is invitation only. It's only for the moms who are coming to the virtual support group. So if they're like, we don't advertise this, we won't advertise this publicly. People will just see it when it's over because we have lunch provided, we have childcare provided, we will have customized back to school. It's not just a blanket back to school. They will prepare for your family. You tell us the ages of your kids, the names of your kids, and they pack bags just for your family. So that's why we do it invitation only because we don't want anybody to come and they don't have the same things as everybody else. So make sure you fill out the survey at the end of this group so I can compare and contrast who got that invitation already and then who didn't. So the moms who've been coming to support groups already, they've already received the email to register for this. I just need to send it to the ones that are new on this call who qualify and just make sure LifeBridge can include them. If they can't include your family because of the late date, then we'll just have a gift card or something for you to help with back to school shopping. All right. And then the mentorship program, I mentioned that earlier. That is, like I said, a 6-month program where we pair moms with mentors for 6 months to work on at least 3 goals, whether it's getting a better job, finishing education, starting education, finding childcare, finding a better place to live, things like that. There's a dedicated person working with you. You have to interview for this. You have to be accepted into the program. And we won't interview again until next year. We're in the 2025 class right now. This is a picture from one of our walk and talks. Last year, the group wanted more opportunities to connect with moms, so we added in walking in the park together. So we had our first one last month. But if you are interested in this, you can still sign up for the mentorship program now. You just won't start until the 2026 class because we're in the 2025 class right now. We're too deep in to the program now to add anybody else. But if you are interested, please sign up now. We'll interview later. All right. And then today, our virtual mommy meetup support group is focused on disaster preparedness with Nicole Hutton from the American Red Cross. So in your group time or in the end time, we're going to have you ask any questions or make comments about what you learned today. Hopefully, there'll be several comments or questions about what we can do or how to apply this information to your own personal life. And like I said, I will post the survey in the chat so you can fill that out. That serves as your attendance. And then I also is something I can send to Nicole and get more information from you if needed about whatever else you need from Shelter from the Rain. So our next meeting date, like I said, will be the Health and Wellness Support Group in July, and that's invitation only. So please, please, please fill out that survey. So if we missed anybody in the first round of emails, I can catch it now. Does anybody have any questions about what we have coming up before I turn it over to Nicole? Okay. All right. If you do have any additional questions or you think of something later, just save it for the end or put it in the chat and we will respond. All right. I'm going to stop sharing. All right, Nicole, it's all yours.
Good morning, y'all. I think I've probably met some of you, but I want to meet all of you, so at some point maybe I'll join one of those walks too. That would be cool. But I am Nicole Hutto. I work for the American Red Cross. I'm actually in the Community Adaptation Program, which is a newish program for us, and it's where we work on building resiliency in our community. Um, so we partner with a lot of different nonprofits. Me and Jennifer partnered together, and we love our partnership too. And really, disaster preparedness is the focus today. But to get there, like in my opinion, the most important thing is working together and being a community. And I think that's why the program that I'm in, at least, is really neat because we have to take care of each other. We have to make sure, like, if I know my neighbor has a disability, I want to make sure they have what they need if something does hit us. Um, if you do have questions throughout the presentation, please feel free. Yeah, put it in the chat or raise your hand, and I don't mind doing that, or we can do it at the end too. And then I can be a resource for all of you like after this too. So if you guys are comfortable too, if you want to share your emails that are in the chat with me as well, I can send over this presentation but I really have some good documents to have on hand that will help prepare when it comes time because we can all listen, but we may not remember everything as we go through. So I can always just send those to you, Jennifer, if you want to send them out to everyone too. Um,
Yeah, absolutely. That's great.
Perfect. I will share my screen. We'll get started. Oops. There we go. Sorry. Mine's a little different on this one. Um,
There should be, you see that little those icons at the bottom, the one that has a box and a little line coming out of it. If you click that, it should go to presentation mode. There you go.
there we go. Perfect. Thank you.
No problem.
Um, so I always do like to start off. We usually use Microsoft Teams, so I'm new to Zoom, so but I like to like start these off. I do it kind of different every time, but I like to kind of get our minds prepared for what you might think of before disaster. So we all like, I feel like in when disasters happen, we think about it maybe the day before or a couple days before when you're going to the grocery store and you're like, oh, I need this, 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 and this. But really, that can start now. So hurricane season already started June 1st, but we can get disasters anytime, which we've all seen. And so kind of getting our minds in the mindset like of preparedness continuously. Um, so if anyone's comfortable sharing after this, please feel free. I'll just ask for like one or two people, but this is just a little game that we play as a team, as for my team, and I wanted to share it with you guys. So think about this. I'll give you like 2 minutes. If you're stranded on a desert island, what four things from this list would you bring? And you can only bring four. What would you bring with you and why? And you can write them down, put them in the notes on your phone, just remember them. And I'll give you like 2 minutes.
You want them to put it in the chat?
Yeah, you can put it in the chat. I can't see the chat though. Hold on.
I can look at it.
All right.
Oh, this is hard. Oh, first aid kit for sure. I keep one with me now and I used it twice this week. I am klutzy. I cracked my nail in half, like down to the middle part. She, uh,
My team makes fun of me because I am the most clumsy person. Like, yeah, so they would probably tell me to have four of those, and that's it.
I feel like you need a tent if you're outside. If you don't have a toilet paper, I feel like we have to say that. What else would you use? What would you use if you don't have toilet paper? Leaves. Oh, this is hard. Huh. Yeah, this is rough. I guess matches.
And there are no right or wrong answers. This is just to get your brain going.
Hmm. Okay, yeah. Put your answers in the chat if you don't want to say it out loud. And then Althea is wondering if there's any boy moms on the call if y'all want to connect in the chat. Everybody else, I'll just grab your information, but Althea is wondering if there's any boy moms in here.
I'm a boy mom.
Yeah,
I forgot to mention that. I am a single mother. I have a 4-year-old son. His name is Lucas. He may or may not be making an appearance at some point, depending on what he's doing out there, but
he's the cutest.
he is really, yeah, he loves Jennifer too. He hugs her every time.
I know I get a hug.
I'm loving these answers.
Oh, I didn't say flashlight. That's a good idea. Mm, knife. Yeah, it's
I'll
hard to.
give it like one more minute. I think a lot of people have already answered.
Hmm. Good answers.
You know what surprises me?
Hmm.
Not one, well, I'll say it when we're done because I'm surprised about something. Because
Okay.
these answers are amazing and very different from when my team did it. All right. If anyone else has anything else they want to put in, totally fine. But I'm reading over these and I'm like, nobody put, oh, okay. I like that too. I see the chat now, Jennifer.
Okay.
So I'm reading over it. But I like the flare. Okay, so I am the most surprised that no one put, yeah, um, the knife to help cut the fish I hope to catch. That no one put phone. Um, I
I
guess I under
I didn't even pay attention to that.
I'm really shocked, but to be honest, how would you charge it? How long are you going to be there? Like, there's a lot of context that we're missing. And that's kind of what we went over in our exactly. There could be no signal. There probably is no signal. And how, like, you can't charge it. And what if it's a desert island that's not even, you can't make calls to, and you're in another country and can't make calls to someone who might be able to help you? What if you don't know a number? What if you don't know their emergency number? So the answers that y'all gave are phenomenal. Like I said, there's really no right or wrong answer. Everybody has their reasons for putting what they want. Um, I think, yeah. So we think about like the main needs that we have, and it's food, shelter, water, um, clothing, so we have these tools here, and it's really hard to pick just four. I think I don't know what I would even pick at this point, but it's interesting to me to see what people have said with the boat piece as well. So without oars, I liked that too. So the one thing that I said I would bring when I did this is definitely a knife. And I don't know if I could cut down a branch to make an oar with a knife or not, but that was where I was going with it. Um, but yeah, I mean, there's just little things too. And then if you do bring toilet paper, which yes, everyone would love to have toilet paper. If you don't bring toilet paper though, and you want to use leaves, some people may not know what plants are poisonous, not poisonous. So, does anyone, I know everyone put it in the chat, but does anyone want to like come off mute and share? If not, that's totally fine. I just like to give that opportunity.
I can share.
Yeah, go ahead.
I chose knife because if I'm gonna be there for a while, I'm gonna need to cut bushes and trees to make a hut.
Mhm.
I chose the boots because I'm not walking on an island barefooted. I'm gonna need something comfortable to wear. I chose pot because whatever I do catch and prepare, I'm going to need to cook in the pot or to catch water to drink. And I chose matches because you can't go wrong with fire for warmth, for cooking, or even to make a signal fire.
I love it. I think, and everyone has like, can y'all still hear me? I just want to make sure.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. My one of my headphones. I think especially your reasonings, Heather, I think that's phenomenal. And I love I love the boots piece too. Yeah, I wouldn't want to be barefoot on a desert island. You don't know what you could step on. Um, and the pot. The pot is also something that I think I chose my first time doing this because it's multi-use. So when I looked at this, I'm like, okay, what can I use that I can use over and over again? So I know this has nothing to do with disaster, but if you think about it, it kind of does because when you're preparing for anything, you want to have a plan. You want to think about things ahead of time. This kind of gets your mindset in that way. Um, and in a preparedness way of thinking. And I do this every year during hurricane season because I like to get more proactive in a more proactive headspace. Um, yeah, a mirror. So a lot of my team chose mirror as well, and I think that that's huge because we all, if you know how to do it, I didn't, I learned. But you could absolutely do that. Um, but really the main thing that I like that I got from this too is there's no, like I said, there's no right or wrong answers, but there's also no answer because we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know, like, yeah, we can get the notifications on our phones or we can talk to our community that like something's coming, but what if it's different than what you thought? What if it hits in a different area and you're like, oh, it wasn't supposed to hit me and you're not prepared? What if it's a different kind of disaster that comes? Like tornadoes can come out of nowhere, whereas at least with hurricanes, we can prepare, we get a little bit of notice. Um, so it's just really important to have some tools ahead of time that you're able to at least think about, but have some really good hands-on tools as well. And I think Jennifer and I talked about this. Maybe we can come up with a plan to get everyone the tools I'll talk about today, but we'll talk about that after as well. Um,
Yeah, and
so a
I'm gonna
first,
have questions for you for sure.
yeah, for sure. All right, I am gonna keep going. I love these answers though, and like I said, there's no wrong answer. You want to make sure you have clean water too. Like I don't know how I would figure that out, how what water's safe to drink or not to drink. Um, but yeah, that these are great answers. All righty. So a lot of times, we kind of just talked about this, but it goes hand in hand. Like disasters are coming, like no matter what. It's not avoidable. We're gonna have disasters. They happen often, a lot of times with no warning, little warning. Um, they can happen anywhere, anytime. Um, and they affect any community. So a lot of times we focus specifically, like I ask people a lot of times in our area, what specific area do you think gets hit the hardest? I'll actually leave that open if someone wants to answer.
Hmm.
So if you think about Southeast Georgia,
Oh, just in Southeast Georgia?
hmm
I would think all the coastal areas.
that's actually majority of that was my answer too. But it's not necessarily true. Yes, if it it depends on, how the houses are set up and things like that, but we also have to think about the tools that they do have in place as opposed to the ones that we may not inland. And
Mm-hmm.
so just like Colorado, this is an example. Colorado is used to getting snow. They're prepared.
Right.
They have salt, they have plow trucks, like they're ready and they clear that up. We get snow like we did this year and we're stuck
Right.
because we're not prepared.
Right.
That's not something we're expecting, and that affected different places in different ways. But even you have to look at like surge storm zones, you have to look at flood zones, and on like for example on Tybee, a lot of them have hurricane shutters. A lot of them have their houses raised up so that way when a hurricane does hit or if a disaster comes, they're already prepared because they know they live on the coast.
Right.
Whereas I live more inland, I wouldn't even think to do that. And yet, just like Jennifer said before, when Helene hit, I was not prepared. That was something that came, in my opinion, it didn't come out of nowhere, but we didn't think we would get hit as hard as we did. And even during Hurricane Debbie, which was right before Helene, Richmond Hill, for example, was flooded, completely
Mm-hmm.
like underwater.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not something they expected. So it's interesting to see like how what affects which areas and how we all go like, oh yeah, it has to be like the coast on the beach because that's where it comes from, but that's not always true.
Right.
And then so in Chatham County, like that's where I focus for my job, but really like we can look at all of Southeast Georgia, Chatham County and surrounding areas. Um, we'll go over like which ones are most prevalent and some of these did surprise me. So another thing on this slide that I like to go over is like what a disaster is. This answer right here, it says normal response systems are overwhelmed, people are hurt, property is damaged or destroyed. That's a definition. But if you think about it, we think of disasters as major disasters, hurricanes, tornadoes, big storms, fires, things along that line. But really, it can be something that affects one person or two people. It doesn't have to affect a huge amount of people for it to be a disaster. Um, a lot of times too, people don't know that Red Cross, like we can help. So, for example, Jennifer's situation, she got help from United Way. That's great. And you can also still call us too. So you can call 1-800 Red Cross if you're affected. We do damage assessment, financial assistance. And really, they have other tools to help too. My team specifically has like hyperlocal tools that we can help with. But if you call there, if something happens, if you have a home fire, call 1-800 Red Cross. They'll be able to help. But if your property is damaged or destroyed, we help with like shelter. We'll try and figure that out. We can help with a hotel room for a night or two as well. So we're going to have disasters. They're more prevalent. As we've seen, we had Hurricane Debbie, Hurricane Helene, Hurricane Milton, back to back to back. We weren't necessarily as affected by Milton, but it did affect Florida pretty bad. So it's important to be prepared.
Yeah.
Also, some of the things that surprised me are what I looked up in the area. So go to the next slide. So these are some of the things that we face. And you may not think, I don't know. So like home fire, that can happen to anybody, and that can happen very easily if you don't have tools in place there. Also, another side note, if you need a smoke alarm, you can also call me. And I can come give you one. It's 10 years of battery life and we'll make sure it works. Red Cross will make sure it works and it's good to go. Because that's one of the main reasons why home fires happen and why a disaster and homes are destroyed from home fires is people don't test their batteries, or they may have a faulty smoke alarm, or putting things in rooms that shouldn't be in there. So that's a big one. Hurricanes, we know we get. Floods, we know we get. Tornadoes, we get. Extreme heat. You may not think of that as a disaster, but it is, because think about like all of us on this call, I'm pretty sure have children as well. They love, well, at least my little one loves to play outside. I in the summertime, especially here with the humidity too, I always just have his water with him. And I'm like, I'll even set a timer on my phone sometimes. Like every 30 minutes, I need him to come drink like a certain amount, make sure he's hydrated. Hydration is number one, especially in extreme heat. But it's important to also know the signs of extreme heat if you're with people. And that is a whole different class that I won't go into today, but that's more of a first aid class that we can do sometime as well. But extreme heat can also happen even if it's not 100 degrees outside. It can be less than that. It's just important to stay hydrated as number one, and know like the tools around you. Thunderstorms, we know we get to. Wildfire. That one is the one that surprised me the most. And I think we think because we do live in a semi-coastal area and we're on the East Coast in humidity, that we're not prone to wildfires, but it's getting there. It's getting to the point where it can be. Like we saw a fire happen, I think it was a few months ago, where it took, I think they said 20% longer to put out than it would have normally. And that can be due to the dry air. If we're in a drought, it hasn't rained, if the humidity goes down, our climate is like up and down, up and down, up and down, and we don't know how to necessarily see that coming. Wildfires are not something we're used to or prepared for. So that's something else that surprised me. Um, okay, I'm gonna go into the next one. So for this, it's just the most important that you know, like if you live in a community and you want to help your community, obviously that's wonderful, but some people don't know their neighbors. And it's important for us to work together. Like I said at the beginning, like working together as a community is going to help us be more resilient when these times come. And so we can start that now. We can start that firsthand. Um, there's a lot of people assume that people are going to be there to help too. So it's something called like the bystander effect. Like, oh, I see their roof is gone, but someone will go over there and help them. I'm sure they're fine because there's so many people and it's a disaster. That's not always true. So that's why it is important to check on your neighbors, check on your community, check on your people. Like, I'll go over our app too, our Red Cross app. It's a separate app that you can download on your phone, but in that you can add different locations and know who's affected by what, and it has shelter locations in there as well if you're displaced from your home. But you resources aren't always there to support immediately is also a big thing. If I'm the Red Cross or if I'm FEMA, if I'm a disaster organization or somebody who's trying to help, if I'm a first responder and I'm affected, I can't get to you because I'm affected. So those are things that's why we need to go over preparedness, and it makes it important when that time comes. Um, hospital, first responders, disaster organizations, government agencies, they all do their best. Like they are there pretty quickly unless, you know, they're affected, but they're staffed for normal day-to-day operations and it can be limited during a disaster. We got to depend on ourselves first. Roads may be impassable, utilities may not be available, which I don't know about you guys, but during Hurricane Helene, my power was out for 8 days.
Oh my God.
Um, and yeah, and I was shocked. I like Tybee Island had power before me.
Wow.
Um, and that's another thing. You think you know the areas it's going to hit and you just don't. And you don't know your infrastructure of like where your power lines are. Are they underground? Are they above? Did a tree fall on one?
Right.
Hospitals and first responders most of the time during these are also overwhelmed. And so they're trying, they want to help. That's what they're there for. They may not be able to help as quickly as you think. And banks, grocery stores, gas stations, pharmacies, schools, your workplaces, they may be closed for days. So having a plan in place is extremely important. You got to have a disaster plan. I know it sounds silly to think about like writing down or I like to draw. So I'm not good at drawing, but I like to draw. So I like draw like, okay, if this happened, this, and this I have ready or something. If this happened, I can go here, or we can drive on this road instead of that road. Um, also, during disaster, a lot of people are using their phones at once, meaning service can go down. I don't know if I lost complete service, but I know it was very difficult to make a call during Helene. That's when, and this may be going a little extra, but it is important if you have access to like a weather radio. There, you can order them on Amazon pretty cheap as well. And then I think we have some too that we on our website. I know Walmart has them, things like that. But if your service goes down, you don't have internet, or if you don't even have access, a weather radio still is going to work. And you can know and be prepared. You can hear on there if there's resources or what's around you, and you can know what's coming. Um, you also may need to help other people. And if you're not able to, like if you're extremely impacted, no, obviously you got to take care of yourself first. Your safety is the number one. You cannot help others if you don't help yourself. But if they are affected and you know, like we talked about before, if you know that your neighbor is disabled or doesn't have access to a certain resource that they need, you can reach out too. You can go help. Like we can help each other and help our neighbors. Um, then I also like to go over specifics. I'll go over more specifics in a little bit, but one thing to take note of is like every family is different. I could give you a list right now of what I would take in a bag for that I would have ready to go for my son and I. That is not going to look the same as your bag. That's not going to look the same as your neighbor's bag. That's not going to look the same. We're all different. We all have different needs. I know I take medication. I have to think about that. I know that my son has an allergy. I have to think about that. So there's a lot of things. That's why it's so important to start thinking now and having like a plan in place. And I'll give you guys too, like something to, I'll send it to Jennifer, but it'll be like a little plan that you can actually write out. We can print it off and write it out so that you have it. Um, but we can prepare. So each of us can prepare ourselves and our household for any disaster. I wouldn't say any, and obviously it's not going to be perfect, but it helps us stay safe, adapt, and recover. Will the preparation be perfect? No. And it will make things quick, easy, or painless? Not always, but it helps you to be safe and recover more quickly. Um, can someone come off mute or put in the chat, what do you think it means to be prepared?
If you're talking, we can't hear you.
It's okay if you don't want to answer, if you don't have one.
I have a emergency duffel bag packed always. It has our birth certificate, social security cards. Um, it has our current clothing size. It has diapers, whatnots in it that I know I will need that I could just swing over my shoulder if we have to go.
Well, you are way more prepared than most, Heather, and that's amazing. I know I did not have that. And if I was told to evacuate during Helene, I would have been scrambling. And that is why this is so important. What Heather said is ideal. Like having that packed. I honestly now just keep my son and I's birth certificate, like documents in a folder that's waterproof. And yep, the red go bag. That we're gonna talk about that too. Y'all are prepared.
Mhm.
So I now keep our all our important documents. Like I don't use his birth certificate on a day-to-day basis. I keep it in a waterproof bag with my all of our stuff, and then I put it in my go bag and just have it there. And if I need it, I know where my go bag is. I can just get it if I need it during blue skies. We call blue skies when everything's good, like we're not in a disaster, and then we call it gray skies when we're responding to disaster. So, but during day to day, at least I know where the important documents are if I need them. But then if something does hit us, or if my house just floods from a storm, like, and I don't know, I can go grab my bag and leave. And even if it's just that, at least I don't, that's one less step I have to take to recover, going to all those offices and trying to get identification again. Um, but it really with preparedness too, it's different. Like I said before, it's really different from person to person, place to place. Every community is different. That's why like this PowerPoint actually is one that it's a generic one, but every single person has to change it to what fits our community because the way that Chatham County and Savannah responds to something is going to be way different than the way San Diego might respond to something on the West Coast. Um, but those are really good. And we'll talk about like we call it be Red Cross ready, but we'll talk about like how to get a kit, how to make a plan, and how to be informed. Okay, I was looking at the time.
We're
Wow,
at 11:50.
thank you. Um, so your kit needs to really, so the first thing is getting a kit. It should contain supplies you'll need at home and that you can easily carry with you if you have to evacuate. Making a plan, you got to identify the steps. That's important. So, like, I can say, oh, I'm going to drive to Atlanta if something's hitting us. Well, how do I know I can do that if the roads are closed? How do I know if there's a big tree down on 16, that's the main way I take. That's the only way I know how to take. And if my phone's not working, I don't know how else to go. Um, you want to take those steps, and I know it can sound silly and redundant, but it is important. It's something, we want to take care of ourselves and our families, our kids, and having that plan in place ahead of time it'll take away a lot of the stress if a disaster or when a disaster does come. Um, for each one, it's also I don't know. I mean, I can't tell you what I would do in this scenario, but some people have every family looks different. For me, it's just my son and I. So a lot of times we want to decide who will do what. So there's not duplicate efforts. So if I'm with my son, I'm not going to go tell him to grab certain things because he's 4 and sometimes he may not know what that means. So I'm going to pretty much do it all. But if you have a household that is larger and you have different people who are able to help, I would set them up now. Like, hey, if this happens, can you do this? And I'll do this and you do this and practice. Again, it sounds silly. It works. And then also decide how you're going to communicate with each other. That's huge. So if I'm at work and my son is at home, not by himself, but I want to know like how I'm going to communicate with the people in my family. I want to know what our plan is there. Um, and then we also want to know like if we're staying if we want to have two plans really. And you want to have a plan for if you're staying in place, like shelter in place, we call it. And then you also want to have a plan for if you have to evacuate. Um, and yes, Althea said it like that's perfect. You always want non-perishables, you want water, you want like I know at least if for those of us who have younger kiddo, very much younger kiddos, if you have babies and things, you want to make sure that you have I think I used to buy the milk that is on the shelf so the non like it lasts a lot longer than the one that needs to be refrigerated. I had it on hand just in case. For younger ones too, formula, that's huge. There's a lot of again everyone I don't need that stuff anymore because he's 4 but yeah diapers baby foods but that's why my kit's going to look way different that's why my plan's going to look way different than your plan and for a lot of people um and then the biggest thing is to be informed don't like I hear a lot of people what they'll do is they'll say, okay, well, the last big one we got was Hurricane Matthew years ago. So it's not going to hit us. It'll go around us. Things like that. You can assume, like, if you want to do that, that's fine. It's still important to have a plan, though. And then, but the informing piece, like, is extremely important. We all have families. We want to know who is where at what time, too. And we want to know how we're going to be able to either get out or make sure our family is home safe with us and stay at home and shelter in place. There are a lot of different resources on how to be informed. We're working on hopefully getting more resources too out in the community as well. But we talked about the weather radio. If your phone and service is working, there's weather apps. Everyone has their different preference for weather apps. And there's also the Red Cross app, which I talked about too, and I'll have another little snippet at the end if you want to, if you can download that. But it really just allows you to quickly respond. So to be informed, wanting to know what's happening, it allows you to quickly respond to help yourself, your household, and your community. All right, to get a kit. Household kit supplies for 3 days. So a lot of times, I don't know about you guys, but right now I could not go buy supplies for 2 weeks with my budget. So really what this means,
That
the
part.
household kit, yeah, that part for sure. Uh, that's why I say 3 days. Like think about it like that at first. But I really what you can do is start now and just start building it as you go. Like, hey, I just bought these groceries, but now next month I have money again to buy more groceries and I didn't use these things that are non-perishable. Boom, can go in my household kit. Like just kind of like a budget in a way, like saving money that you have extra, save supplies that you have extra, just put it away where you can't see it and say, nope, that's for emergencies only. Um, 2 weeks is ideal because like I said, my power went out for 8 days. I lost a lot of food. Um, a lot. And I think if I would have been more prepared, knowing this ahead of time, I could have been, fine. But um, uh, so that's the household kit. That's for sheltering in place. And the go bag, I think a couple people already said, I think Althea said it too. And Heather said she has one. But this is one for at least 3 days if you need to evacuate. And then supplies for each member of the household and customize. I cannot stress how important that is enough. Like if my grandma is 95, if she lives with me, or even she doesn't live with me, but she's still nearby, I need to be able to help her too. So I need to know what she needs. I need to be able to put that in a bag for her because she can't walk. Like I need to be able to get her access to get out if she needs to get out. Um, things like so it's really important to think about not just ourselves, but the members of our family and also our community. Um, there's a lot of stuff that you may want to put in a go bag, like certain things that you think you might need. Think about it like, can I go a month without this item? If you say yes, don't put it in there. You want something lightweight if you have to go super quickly. Go to that. So gathering the essentials, this is kind of I already went into this, but food, water, clean air, and life-sustaining items for members of your household. That's key. Those are the basics. Non-perishables, easy to prepare food items, manual can opener. That sounds weird, but that is important because a lot of your non-perishables are going to be canned food that you won't be able to open. Clean water, um, and you want to, oh, there's another question in here, but I'm gonna skip it because we talked about it. But you should have really like the best thing on hand. Hi. My little boy wants to say hi.
Hey,
Oh, this is
Lucas.
Lucas.
Hey, Lucas.
He's
Hi.
oh, sorry. Here.
Oh, he can't
Can
hear
you say
you.
hi?
Hi,
Say
hi,
hi.
Lucas.
Um, hold on really quick.
The cutest.
Let me do this. Audio. There we go. Can you say hi?
Hi, Lucas.
All right. Um, but really a half or have at least 1 gallon of water per person, half for drinking, half for sanitation. Um, keep it fresh as best you can. You might need more depending on more water or more items depending on who's in your family. Um, if you're in a hot region, you might need more water, which we are. So prepare for that too. You'll
Full of
want a flashlight, battery powered or hand crank radio. I didn't know what a hand crank radio was until recently, but you literally it's cool. Like you can go like this, you grab it, it's like this big, and then you just turn it, and then that's how it powers. So
Mm.
those are really cool too.
Mm.
Um, let me make sure.
Yeah,
I wanted to go
Nicole, if
over
you have any
things
of
that I wanted to
like
see at the
any
time.
of these resources that
Um,
are available at Red Cross, let me
yes.
know and we can have them at the in-person meetup in July.
Okay, perfect. Will you send me that after this?
I'm gonna email you now because I'm not
You're
gonna
the best. Right. That's me too. Um, so there's weather radios that are the best ones, but those can be pricey, so we don't need to do that. But I don't have one of those. I have just a basic one and it works fine. And another thing is signing up to receive notifications from local emergency services. I'll send over after this resources to all of you that'll have this information too for these specific things. But you want to make sure you have first aid kit, extra batteries, 7 day supply of medication and medical items. That can be hard depending on what medications you take though. Um, and then for medication too, I'm going to say one more thing just because it's I think it's important. Keep a copy of your prescriptions or even empty bottles, because if you need to have that filled later,
Mhm.
you'll have it on hand. Like, if your your community's destroyed, you can't get back in, like what happened in Asheville, North Carolina. Um, you need to be able to have that on hand, or else it's going to take a lot longer. So, again, I got ahead of myself, but pets, that is another thing. I don't know if y'all have pets, but I do.
Yeah.
Um, you got to think about your pets too. I will tell you, Red Cross shelters, if you are displaced, Red Cross shelters do allow pets and service animals.
Nice.
Um, then yeah, you can customize it based on what you prefer. Again, I know I said like if I can go a month without this, don't put it in there, but if you know that it's gonna happen and there's a couple things that you don't use often but would bring you comfort if you are displaced, put it in there, especially if it's lightweight. Playing
Uno.
cards.
Uno cards.
Yeah, Uno. Yeah, I love Uno. Next time we're all on, we'll play Uno instead of this.
We did have a virtual game night one time for the moms. We need to have another one. And they got
Oh,
to
yes,
win,
please.
they got to win like gift cards and stuff. It was nice.
I would love to join that too.
Yeah.
I get competitive. Just kidding. Um, but yeah, you can have a kit for, again, this is not as it's easier said than done because we don't always have the budget to get a kit everywhere you're ever going to be. But I would say vehicle is important. At work, yes, but if you drive to work, if you do have transportation, it's already in your vehicle. It's okay. But you want one definitely at home, and I would say if you do have a vehicle in your vehicle as well. Um, Things to consider too when making a plan, what kind of disasters, which we talked about, household members with certain needs, pets, and household members who travel. Different hazards require you to take different actions. For a tornado, you got to go to a basement or cellar or a room with no windows, really. I don't have a basement or a storm cellar, so I would just go in my bathroom. It has no windows. Um, and then for a home fire, though, that's the opposite. You got to get out of there. And you got to, oh, for home fires too, I would recommend, especially with your kiddos, there's a fun way to do it where you can make a plan to evacuate and have a meeting place and then practice that with them too. Um, but really, it's important just to talk about it often with disaster. I think it's, it sounds scary or it may sound like you're not talking positively, like we said earlier or whatever, but it's important just to talk about it like in daily lingo so you don't forget. I know if I went over this entire presentation a year ago, I would not remember any of this. I mean, I would remember some of it, but not a lot of it today. Um, Including the right details, where to meet, how to communicate, records, where you're going to stay. And you may not know that, but just having ideas and then practice. I know I said that before, but practice. It's sounds silly, but it works. Um, be informed. Always make sure that you have some way of being connected if possible. So whether it's an app like the weather app or social media even or the news, things along those lines. I do know with certain apps you can put it as small as literally your neighborhood. Others you can put it like your area. You can see other people's areas. So be informed, know the signs of stress. That's huge. Not just your own stress, or I mean, not just other people's stress, like to help others, but your own stress. I would even include in your plan having some coping skills on what it looks like when you're stressed and then how you manage your own stress as well. And putting those skills in there. So if you're in that moment and you're like, everything's going crazy, you can look at that and be like, okay, this is what I can do in this moment. And it's physically right there and you can see it or touch it. That will help you get grounded back. Um, and then get help when you need it. Do not be afraid to ask for help. That if I can say anything, if you've learned anything from this, do not be afraid to ask for help. There are so many resources out there that people have no idea about. Put this number in your phone right now, 1-800 Red Cross.
Mhm.
You can call it. You can, like, whether they help you, whether you if it's not something they can help with, they can point you in another direction of where you can go, especially with disaster, mainly for disaster, pretty much.
Yeah, I feel like disasters put you in a position where even if you don't like to ask for help, you're almost forced to. Because like I hate asking for help, but like when that tree went down, I was like, "Who can help me?" I was on Facebook. I was like,
Right.
"Who can fix this?" Because I can't afford to fix it. So
I would,
yeah,
I 100% agree. I was afraid, like, me and you had the same thing happen. I think we showed pictures to each other, and I was like, I don't know what to do. I can't pay for this. Like, that's mine. Oh, insurance. I know I'm running out of time, but
yeah, we're at 12:07. You're okay. You're fine.
so let me
Um,
see what the next one is.
5 more minutes.
Yeah, emotional health after a disaster is huge, but this goes along with asking for help. Ask for help. Like,
I think that's big with the moms that we have on the call, especially when you're used to doing life and figuring out everything by yourself on a regular basis. Like it's even more overwhelming when it's stuff like this on top of everything else. So definitely ask for help and have somebody to talk to. The hard part is everybody's going through a disaster at the same time.
same,
So the
right.
the resources that you really, really need, like talking to a therapist, they might not be available because that therapist is probably dealing with some stuff too. But whatever help you can get, definitely get it.
But that's when also that's where our program kind of comes into play with we call it our CAP program, Community Adaptation Program. Jennifer,
Yeah.
if you call me after a disaster and you're like, they would like these resources for mental health, I now have two people or two organizations that we like have partnered with too that and I know you're partnered with one of both of them actually too. But I'm just saying like that's the important my point is like to lean on our community too. And
Right.
yes, maybe no one's available, of course, like that day or things along that line. But just taking a chance, a risk, and asking, the worst you can hear is no, or I can't right now, but I can later.
Yeah.
Um, okay. Let me see. This is just really, this one's optional, but I know we all have kids, so I wanted to put it in here. It's a whole nother program that I can do for the kids sometime if you ever want me to. It's called Prepare with Pedro. It is for kindergarten through second grade age.
Mhm.
Really, you can do younger kiddos too. And then I have another one. I mean, any kids we could do this one with, really.
Okay.
Um, but just really helping them be informed. And then this is my last slide. So this is our app. You can Google, I mean, you can look up in the App Store, just search Red Cross emergency app and it'll be in there. Not the blood one. There's a blood one too. Don't do that one. Search Red Cross emergency app. I mean, you can do that one too, but this is the
That's
emergency
not
one.
the one. And I just put the survey in the chat. Please do that survey before you log off. The first link that I put in there, that's the survey. I'm gonna send it to you differently, Magda, because I know you can't get it in here. And then I'm also gonna put a link to the support group for July if you need school supplies. Um, yeah, this is from Magda. If you need school supplies, because I'm not going to send that out to everybody, it's only the moms who come to support groups. So if you're in the support group and you get this link, because moms are going to be like, oh, I didn't get a link and you weren't at the support group. So make sure you do the survey one first. So do the link that I put in here first. And I'm gonna wait a few minutes before I put the second one in because I don't want you to do that one first. Do the survey link first. I put the link in there. Um, it should be the first link in the chat at the bottom. And then I'm gonna put another link in for y'all to request school supplies. If you've already done the other survey link, oh, pre-K. Yeah. If you've already
Oh,
done the survey link for this group, let me know and I'll go ahead and drop. Like if you've done the survey link and you need the other link, just let me know if you need I don't see anything that came through yet. So as soon as I see the first survey link come through, I'll drop this other link for the school supplies, but we want you to do the survey link from today. Does anybody have questions for Nicole while we're doing the survey link? Any questions? I wanted to know specifically, Nicole, if you know about anything like we have a hurricane come up this year, and there is a mom or a family that we have that does not have transportation. Now I know in the past when we've evacuated, they've had up until a certain time. If they were like, hey, if you want to evacuate, you can do it now. We have these buses or whatnot that can take you out of the city. And unfortunately, the options it's where they take them to can be not the best. And I can understand why they wouldn't want to get on that bus. But in a situation where a mom doesn't have transportation to get out of the city and doesn't have a place to go or can't afford, or maybe all the hotels are booked up, what are they supposed to do? And I know there's no perfect answer and we might just be stuck. But what are they supposed to do in a situation like that?
So that is a great question. And honestly, I'm glad you asked that. That's like the number one thing I get asked. And that's the biggest barrier in our area. And I know that answer is not great, but I'm not going to lie, it's hard. But what I can tell you is they they do offer more than just those buses to certain places. Or they will, like they're working on offering more than just that, because I think I didn't live here during the one where they ordered evacuation. But I know that it was limited, and it
Or
was to places that, what are they supposed to do once they get that? Almost puts them in more of a
danger.
danger. Exactly. Like I don't want anyone to be like, that's when you can call me too, or you call Jennifer and she can call me. Like that's where our
Unfortunately,
program.
there wasn't even much we could do because they would get to those places because we had a mom that got to one of those places. I don't even think she was an active mom, but we had connection with her. But she got to one of the shelters, and unfortunately, like in those situations, the management of those shelters aren't the best because you get everybody, and things were getting stolen, and like so, like you said, it almost was like not necessarily a worse situation, but very much so traumatic because they were displaced, and then they're in a place that they're not familiar with, and again things stolen from them. Like it was hard.
Yeah. And one thing I will say is I know Red Cross is meeting with CAT, the
Yep.
main transportation system.
Yep.
So that is something that especially like our program, we want to meet with them directly too, because transportation is something we are focused on in our like second year. This is our first year, and then we're going into our second year, and that's something we really want to try to figure out. I will say, like, I have one partner who has several vans for their normal service delivery. If something like that were to happen for evacuation, she has said, okay, I would be willing, like we would try and find drivers and be willing to like evacuate people to where they need to go. Um, that's an option. Obviously, that doesn't allow for everybody in the city though. Like it's a big barrier. Transportation's huge. And I would say, like, especially with this preparedness piece, put down where you would go. Or is there a way, Jennifer, in the survey? Well, you already sent the survey, never mind.
Yeah,
But
they're coming through, which thank you for those. The ones who filled out the survey, I did put the second link in there if you need it to reserve your space for next time. But what did you want to add? Maybe I can send it in the other
or
email.
just yeah, just in the future, like I would like to know a place that you would go if you were evacuating, where you would go, like a general synopsis just for this group. And this
Oh,
is a
can
survey
y'all
we're
say that?
taking.
Can y'all say that now? Can they tell you now? Do you
Yeah,
need, or do
tell
you
me
need
in
to
the
know?
chat.
Yeah. Do you need to know specifically from each person, or you just need to have an idea of places people will go?
Places people would go, just an idea is fine. Like for me, it would be Atlanta. Sometimes that's not always, I can't always go there, but that's where I would go if I'm able.
Yeah, and that's what I put in the chat earlier. Normally, I go to East Dublin, but my dad has passed away, and then my grandma passed away at the end of last year. So I think that was outside of the grief of losing them, it was the grief of having a safe place to
Hmm.
go during that. Because anytime a hurricane has, since I've lived here, my son and I would just pack up and go to East Dublin. And even just to get away from the chaos of Savannah, just pack up and go to East
Yep.
Dublin. So I think part of outside of grieving them, it was like, oh, I don't have a safe place anymore. Like I don't have anywhere to go, like that I know I can go without like making arrangements or showing up or having to worry about what I'm gonna eat or like where am I gonna sleep. And so like I think that part was hard because we do get hit with so many different things during hurricane season and not
Yep.
knowing where you're gonna go or like Heather mentioned in the chat how you're gonna get there, or both, like just the idea of having both. Like, I don't know how I'm gonna leave, and I don't know where I'm gonna go if I can figure out how to leave. And if you have a family to take care of too, like it's just so many different dynamics that can be very overwhelming. And then just being in a place where you can't leave because you don't have anywhere to go and you don't have transportation. So what do you do if you have to stay?
That's what I saw Heather say earlier, and that's been like literally eating at me in the back of my mind this whole time because I will be honest, I don't know.
Yeah,
Um,
that's fine.
and but that's an issue. That's not okay because that's not fair. That's not, you know what I mean? Like
Not
that's not
equitable, yeah. Because there's
um
not the only one. We have
right.
many households in Savannah that wouldn't, number one, be able to afford to leave, don't have a place where they can go for sure, because you can't really guarantee that these hotels aren't going to be booked up with people. And can you, yeah, like even get out in time? So
Yep.
and sometimes some of these workplaces don't make the call until the last minute. Like, okay, do I have to go to work? And then sometimes you just have to make a decision, like, what's the best for my family versus what this employer is going to say, which is that's a tough call because, like, are you going to have a
Hmm.
job when you come back? But I do think there are some situations where you do have to put your health and the safety of your family first, which
Yep.
is, like I said, very hard. When Savannah got hit with snow, and it was that recently, and then it was like some years ago. And we had a boss that wanted us to still come in, and I was like, I'm from Ohio, so like I know these roads aren't ready because I'm like, we don't have.
Yeah, you
I
know.
know for sure these roads aren't ready. And I know that there's a bunch of people out there that don't know how to drive in the snow and they don't understand black ice. So they're just out here and like I like learn how to drive in snow. And it's very, very nerve-wracking. And you can't slam on brakes. You have to pump brakes. And sometimes you just have to let yourself slide in a certain direction. People don't know that here because they he didn't grow up like that. So it's not even necessarily the condition of the roads always, it's the people on the roads. And so I had to make a decision some days that I was like, this is not safe for me to try to go to work today. But again, you have to take everything into consideration, who you work for. Do you have
Right.
children? Like, is this the best decision? Is this out of your control? Whether you can come or not, like things like that. But I think there's so many factors with the moms on this call. Like, did anybody answer where they would go?
And it's totally fine if not, if you don't want to, even. Like, I know that can be different for, or maybe you don't know. Like, actually, I don't know now. I say Atlanta, but I don't really know anyone there now. I'm kind of like your boat, Jennifer, but oh,
Hi.
hi,
Yeah, if
Augusta,
anybody wants, does
Kentucky.
anybody know where they would go if we did have a disaster strike now? Do you have a place outside of Savannah that you can go to? And thank you
Um,
for the surveys. I see them coming through.
no, this Marshall, no, I don't even know where to firstly think.
Yeah.
It would have been Hinesville, but my auntie she moved because she's paralyzed now, and she's in
Oh,
Jacksonville. So
oh,
everybody now in the family is kind of spaced out. Everybody
yeah,
is spread it out around. So now it's just me and my kids left in Savannah.
yeah.
And
That's
I was just thinking too, I'm gonna I'm writing all this down now. Well, I already took some notes, but I think
yeah.
another huge barrier, like I'm seeing all of this, and this is something that's really important, like it's huge. So I'm thinking I'm definitely going to follow up, but also I'm also thinking like what about the kid, like what about our kids? You know what I mean? Like my kid is in a car seat. If you want to give me a ride and his car seat is destroyed or something, like I know the safety is really getting out, so that you got to weigh the risk, but I'm just thinking of all these things and I'm like there's not a plan in place for that, you know?
Yeah,
I thought it used to be the fire department, but they don't even do it anymore.
yeah.
Um,
Right.
yeah, they just
And
assume or expect you to just have everything. and just rehab it all over again, even if it was destroyed. So I think that is one thing, a little bit more of a community help.
Yep.
Jasmine, Jasmine said Augusta, Kentucky, Jacksonville. Jada said she doesn't have a place or up north. Same thing with me. So I don't have a place down here. If I really, really had to go to family, maybe Atlanta, and then most of like my close family, like immediate, is in like Ohio and Indiana. So like, okay, do I want to go all the way up there? Um, and like, do I have a choice? So yeah. Okay.
And in those situations, I'll just say one last thing, like honestly, especially with transportation, reach out to us, especially. I know you all have a relationship with Jennifer, and yeah, Heather, you were the one I was actually thinking of when I brought that up with the car seats when you said earlier, because you're like, I don't know how I couldn't go. And yeah, 3 car seats, like I would offer you a ride. I can't. I
Right.
literally can't fit that.
Right. Right.
Um, and if you catch a bus out, can you bring normally buses are fine with strollers. But I think that this is I'm thankful for all of you guys right now, and I'm very grateful that y'all are first of all willing to let me come and talk to you about this, but also being open and honest, because I think that's how we understand what gaps are in our community, and that's how we understand what barriers are there, and these are huge barriers. These aren't small.
Huge. And I think these support groups are also great because you can see you're not by yourself. Like we have a variety of different types of families here on this call, and several of us have been like, I don't know where I would go. And I just raised my hand. I don't know where I would go for sure. If something here, like I really need to start thinking as soon as I get off this call, what would
Right.
be my plan? And I probably need to text my family up north and be like, hey, hurricanes are getting worse here. Like, are y'all okay with me coming there or me needing help if I do need to come there this year, like coming up with a plan. And it might be better to do it now to give people a heads up now
Yep.
before disaster strikes and you're like, oh my God, I need help. Can you help me now? Versus, hey, this might happen this year. If I really need help, and then knowing now whether they can help you or not, or whether they're even willing to, might be less devastating than like, I really have nowhere to go. Disaster's about to strike and this person is telling me no, versus them already being mentally prepared that if something happens, I probably need to have some space or have something reserved. And it might be that you're saving a little bit of money. So if that person does help and you can say that, hey, I'm going to try to start saving a little bit of money too. So like if I do need you, at least I'll have something that I can like compensate with. And they might be like, no, I don't need that. But at least you're putting it out there that I'm asking you for this, but I will try my best to, not be as much of a burden as you might initially think. So
Yeah.
maybe start asking now because we're literally in hurricane season now, right?
Yep. June 1st was the first
Yeah.
first day. And I, yeah, I mean, like, that's a great point too, Jennifer. Like, coming up with a plan now, but also communicating that plan to the people that if we do have those people. And then if you don't, I'm trying to think creatively too. Like, I know at least I hope those shelters you were saying where people were getting stuff stolen, I don't know if that was ours or not. And if
I'm
it
not
was,
sure. I can't remember because this was a while ago, and I can't remember what shelter or makeshift shelter they made for this, but I think it was just a
but if,
mess, because of like not because of the people who facilitated it. It was just so much chaos. And I think they have, single families with single people and different like dynamics. So when people go to sleep, then they're just targets for things getting stolen. So like I think it was just an open setup. Which is another reason why I was like, people were getting upset at churches for not opening up, but it's like you have to have somebody to facilitate that, like, and
you
separate.
can't just have a group of people in a room with
Can't
no
just
one.
open it up. And if their church people are suffering, then you have nobody to do security and make sure people are safe. People could have things stolen. People could get assaulted. Like there's so many things like liabilities that you run into. So it's not like people get upset, but it's like these churches and these buildings, like they have to think about all the bad things that might happen And
And if it would be safer, it wouldn't really necessarily be safer to have that shelter with a bunch of people in there without anything else because it can create more, like, all of you are already vulnerable. You're going to be afraid to sleep, like afraid to sleep or yeah. I
yeah,
think
so many things.
there are so many factors. And it's like, yeah, I think especially though
Yeah.
with the transportation, like I can't stop thinking about that. And with people who don't know where they would go, I can't stop. So one thing I will say again, at least from my experience, and I have worked with the Red Cross almost a year, but I've been in a ton of, I've deployed out to different locations. I've been in a lot of different shelters. We have so many shelter workers. Like that's what we're known for is having like the places to go. And I know during the last hurricane that people like in Augusta, for example. So I think Jasmine mentioned Augusta. Like they opened a shelter for our people to go up there, like our community, to be
Um,
able to go there if they wanted to have a place to evacuate. It was specifically for that. So there are resources out there for the if you don't know where you would go. Now it's your choice, like I don't if you don't feel comfortable going to a shelter if you had a bad experience, let me know because I know people at these shelters and in these locations for the Red Cross. Like I usually know someone personally and I can talk to like I can be a liaison for that. I can be a coordinator for that.
Put your email in the chat.
I'm gonna
Oh,
do it
you know what?
again.
I could do it because I just emailed you.
Here, I got it.
Okay, and thank you for all the I see all the apps the applications that have come through. And I did see the question. We're gonna wrap up. It's almost 12:30. I
Yep.
want to end at 12:30 for sure. But if you do have more questions, Nicole has put her email in the chat. I'm gonna put it lower too, just so everybody can see
Oh,
it.
sorry.
No, you're fine.
I didn't.
The
Thank you.
email is in the chat, and I'm gonna send her your RSVPs. I saw a lot, or I mean, responses, surveys. I saw a lot of them come through. Hopefully, they're all coming through. You can reserve for the support group, but do it today, because I'm gonna try to send this final list to LifeBridge today because I think they're already collecting supplies. So I know she wanted June 14th, but I'm gonna try to not send anything else to her. But I do want to have between 20 and 30 moms for the health and wellness. So if you have any other questions, just email me. If you have any other concerns about what you would do or need advice, Nicole has put her email in the chat. It's Nicole dot or period I'm sorry, HUTTO. I'm sorry, I just saw something else pop up. So Nicole dot HUTTO at Red Cross dot org. So Nicole dot Hutto at redcross dot org org. So Nicole Hutto at redcross.org. I only kept saying that because if somebody's watching this later, they can't see the chat.
Right.
So I just
I,
want
I was
to
like, I knew why you were doing it.
so I know people on the call are like, all right, we can see it. But it's for the people who are seeing this later. And I'm gonna stop the recording here just so
Perfect.
they can have that email. And like I said, reach out to Nicole or reach out to myself if you need additional resources for getting prepared for a disaster. So I'm gonna stop recording now. We'll see y'all later.